Hi everyone, I'm here today with Cameron Corish from Core Health Coaching. Now last time, Cameron showed us how to release ourselves, release our muscles and make us feel all nice and good so we can exercise again and so we don't feel so bad after exercise and we were using a foam roller. Now, and that's really what foam rollers were designed to do. They were designed to help us myofascial release. But since then, there's all these fantastic exercises that you can do on them as well. And the foam roller makes it a little bit more interesting, gives you more value for money when you buy a foam roller, because really they are actually worth investing in. But also, a lot of these incorporate a little bit of balance, so you're working a lot more of your core, gives you more bang for your buck in terms of your overall exercise time, and it makes it more interesting. So Cameron, you're the expert.
Take it to it. Okay, good. Yeah, look, as Sally's saying, look, I mean, the foam roller is a great tool. So we're going to go through a couple of different series of exercises, predominantly they're core based. So I'll start off with just a little bit of mobilisation through your hip first. This is a really good one before a start of a session. So normally with the fascia releases, we do that at the start of the session. So this one's just getting the hip joint a little bit moving, also switching on the core. So I might take that from you at the moment.
Sure.
So Sally, I'll get you lying down facing up for me. We're going to place this underneath Sally's bottom. So I'll get you to lift the bottom up, just fracture through there. So not right on the fleshy parts of your bottom, just a little bit higher than that. And as you can see, Sally's hips are a little bit higher. So it's not in the smaller back, but that's in a great position. So I'll get you to lift your arms up for me, Sally.
Arms,
how about your legs? Even that. Lift your arms up, no, lift your legs. So with the legs there, what we're actually doing is we're now going to go in circles with the legs, try and keep them at the same pace, but we're going in opposite direction for each leg. So those who are challenged like me in regards to doing different legs at different times. Yeah, we did that, didn't we? Yeah. So, and you'll notice the hips are staying nice and close to on the foam roller, and that the hips aren't moving. So it's all doing opening up through the hips, and your lower abdominal should be working as well. So your feet are in the rope, and what we're going to do is reverse direction as well. So we don't necessarily need to do a lot of this, as it's really just getting the hips in place and switching on that core.
It's quite relaxing. I could do this for quite a long time, but it is subtly working you, so it is a good one to do. And a lot of people have tight hips from sitting down all day if they do an office job, for example.
Yep, and getting your hip in the right position. Great. Okay, so as I said, that's a great sort of mobilisation, or just an opening for your hips. We talked about this tool as being something that's really great for your core exercises as well. So one of the standard core exercises, if you've done any sort of exercise routine before, is the plank or the hover. So I'll get Sally just to demonstrate that. You would have seen this around the place, seen it in a lot of different sort of exercises. So this is the standard sort of hover, and you can notice Sally's back is like a plank, and that's the whole idea there. The belly button is drawn up, so that's nice and flat. Now that's, you know, that might be challenging enough for you as it is, and that's fine, but the next progression on that is actually going onto your hands. So you're actually loading more weight through that, through your core muscles, so that's just a little bit tougher. So what we're actually doing with the foam roller is, again, just progressing that exercise up, making it a little bit tougher. So we're going to use that on your hands to make that unstable. So we'll go to elbows first. So lifting up from your toes, hips nice and level, so the hips not sticking up. There's no curve in that back, that belly button's through there. So it doesn't look like much of a change from the other plank that we did, but I can assure you that just a little bit of instability makes that core just shake a little bit more.
And actually, if you nod your head, it makes it shake even more.
We've made up a new exercise. Yeah. So again, the progressions that we had on the planks before was that we went to hands. So we go up on this on the hands, and again, because it's a fairly tough exercise and you've got a little bit of instability through there, that's making Sally just work that much harder.
Yeah. And if you just actually move it a little bit more when you're up here, it does make it harder again. So it's like nodding your head, only nodding your hands.
Nodding your hands. So the next one is that we're actually going to introduce a little bit more dynamic movement into that core activity. So we'll go back onto a plank onto the elbows with the foam roller. And what we're doing now is we're actually going to move the foam roller forwards and backs. So a forward foam roller roll, and then coming back. Again, as you're extending out, your core has to switch on so much harder.
Yeah, that's so much harder.
one, it's unstable. Two, you're stretching out even further, adding more load. So there's a lot of different things that are happening there. But what I liked, what Sally was doing, keeping that form through the glutes, the lower back, and through the mid back as well.
And if you can't do that now, it gives you something to work towards. It gives you something to aim towards.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a great series of core exercises for the foam roller.
So Cameron, we've finished with our dynamic warm-up for our hips, and we've done a few little planks. What are we going to do next?
Well, we're still going to use that philosophy around the planks and working that deep core muscles around your transverse abdominis. Is we're actually going to change that and go to the side a little bit, and we're going to use a little bit more of your obliques as well as those core muscles. So again, we're really using this foam roller to do that, but rather than being in your having the unstable part through your arms, we're going to do this through your feet. So do we want to show the side plank normally?
Yep. Okay.
So with the side plank, we start with on the elbows. This is a progression by lifting up through the hands, and realistically what we're doing is thinking about the hips. Higher hips, the more that these obliques have to work through here, and make sure one shoulder is above the other shoulder through here, and then one progression through there is lifting this up nice and high, and then the next one is then lifting the leg up nice and straight through there. All the time keeping the hips nice and high and hips right over top of each other through there. So if we come down through there, the foam roller, then what this adds to the exercise is making all of that more unstable, have to work a little bit harder to do that. So we'll just take that through there. So same as that side plank, we'll start on the elbows. That's it, body's nice and aligned through there. Arm up through there. Make sure you're not leaning too far forward through the shoulder, because the shoulder is right on top of the other one. And nice line through this body through there. There's no bend either at the hips or at the knees. That's pretty good, Sally.
Good.
And next one we'll do is, I'll let you to come down, and we'll go to the full hand. Now this is fairly tough. Once you go to the full hand, a lot of pressure through the shoulders, so you need to be fairly careful that your shoulder can take this load, as well as obviously the primary activity of this is all this core based. And again, making it unstable through the legs. Again, think about lifting the hips up nice and high. And down.
Now I actually don't struggle to do that without the foam roller, but with the foam roller it makes it a lot more difficult. So you know that it really does add a lot to it. So
it doesn't seem like there's a lot there, but our body has to strive for stability first. And as a result, it's going to work a lot harder to do the same exercise.
And it's good to try because you can't really hurt yourself. You've only got a little way to fall. And it helps develop muscle memory each time you do it. You know, a little bit. Even if you only do a millimetre more or a second more each time, it's all about progressing.
So shall we show the next progression after that? So we're on our full hand. Make sure that our body's nice and aligned, that our upper body's not coming down to the ground. So turning through here.
We'll try and show the full progression.
Lifting the hand up, lifting the leg up, sorry.
Lift the leg up.
There you go. So there's good position through there.
And again, something I can do without the foam roller, but with the foam roller it's hard. But anyway, that's good.
And it's just a little bit of instability. So.
And that's, I mean, you do a lot of Swiss ball work and BOSU work in your practices, as I do in mine. So, you know, we are both big advocates of using balance just to make things that little bit more challenging.
Look, in the foam roller again, like I mean, very similar to the Swiss ball, but what happens is there's not as much movement, so it's a good interim step up to the Swiss ball. But again, same principles, a little bit of instability there. The body's got to work harder, you get better results.
And I actually think sometimes exercises with the foam roller that you could do on a Swiss ball are actually harder with the foam roller. Some of them are. You know, it depends on you though.
Okay. So the next one we've done is just those side plank series. Is that we're working with the foam roller at the feet. So we're going to do another exercise which is called the jackknife. And we're going to work through this as creating that instability through the feet. So this one, we're just getting the foam roller around shin, around the mid part of the shin. We're going to come up into that plank position, just lifting the hips just a fraction higher. And this time what we're going to do is move the knees to the ground. So pulling up through here, make sure that there's 90 degrees through here. And you're getting a nice roll through there. So whereabouts are you feeling that, Sally?
I am feeling that in the front of my abs, so my rectus abdominis, and also in my transverse, my deepest layer.
Fantastic. So just really keeping the hips nice and high.
As well.
That's it. It grabs a lot, and again this instability is then sort of really using that whole core.
And actually even just a little bit of my obliques. So really it's the whole ab package.
So have you tried that on single leg?
I'm not sure I should have invited you. All right, here we go. So and this leg is out here?
Yep, that's it. And then just bringing the knee in. Good. And then extending out. So pointing the toes on there, making sure the hips are nice and high. There you go. So again, that's just one step even further. When you're getting really good on those double legs, great way of actually getting it tougher.
And of course you go to one leg and one hand, don't you? I'm not showing you that.
I haven't seen that, but yeah, you definitely can do that.
There's something for us all to aim for.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Yeah, that's good, Cameron. Good and bad, but good. Yeah. Okay, here we are again. Now Cameron swears to me that the next ones aren't going to be so hard. So
did I? Really? You sure?
Oh, well, we shall see.
Okay, so again, what we're doing with this set of series is we're using the foam roller as a bit of an instability device to make the exercise a little bit tougher. So when you need a little bit of variety, or you've actually got to a stage where just the normal exercises are becoming comfortable.
Easy.
Yeah, nice to have, isn't it? Too easy. So again, one of the great things about an instability device being foam roller, Swiss ball, Bosu, is that it makes your body work a little bit harder and it's really using those core muscles. So I'll start with Sally on the ground, facing up. With this one is most people would understand what a crunch is. If not, you can go into the library to have a look at a crunch. Is that what we're doing is we're bringing this part of your upper abdominis closer to your hips. So that's really working up through there. Now again, with the foam roller, all we're doing is introducing some instability. So make sure your head's nice and supported on the foam roller. Your hips are nice and supported on the foam roller as well. And exactly the same exercise, but the difference is we're actually having to engage a different set of muscles, which is your transverse abdominis, to try and stabilise yourself before you can come up. So all of a sudden that's just a lot tougher. So in through here, always feeling at the top part, just underneath your rib cage. Sally makes it a lot easier, of course, but through that area there.
And so the transverse abdominis is the deepest layer of your abdominal muscles. A great way I've heard it described, it's your 5 kilo muscle. So it's like if you're wearing control underwear, it wraps right around your front and back and sucks you all in. So if you've got a nice, tight, switched on transverse abdominis, it's like you've lost 5 kilos.
Great. Yeah, being nice and tight around the waist is perfect. So it's like this, belt that's pulling your waist in.
Yeah, yeah.
So great. Okay, so that's our first one using this. The next one we're going to do while you're in that position is just do a little bit of balancing. Now, balancing through the core means that you have to switch on those core muscles again. So I'll get you sitting up just a fraction, leaving your feet through here. So we're supporting our body weight through our hands and through our feet with the foam roller. And the next one we're going to do is introduce a little bit of unstableness. So we're going to take one leg off the ground and then bring that back down, and we'll do it for the opposite leg as well. So again, it doesn't look too difficult, but when you've got an unstable environment, so at this point in time you've got one of those support mechanisms being unstable, is that core has to hold you there.
It's a bit like sitting on a Swiss ball and lifting one leg. It doesn't look all that hard, but it is. It is quite difficult if you've never done it. Yep.
And it is a good one as a starting. Again, a natural progression for this is then to just make it a little bit tougher. So the next phase is actually lifting both legs off at the same time.
Take 2.
Yep. So you can see at this point is that we only then have 3 supports, both arms and through the hips, through that foam roller, so you've got more pressure through there, and all of a sudden Sally's starting to work.
Yeah, you can see me starting to shake.
So lucky these were easier exercises. Okay, even make it tougher. Let's leave the legs up there. Now one arm off. So take one arm off the ground.
Watch out when I fall on you.
Yep, no, doing well. Doing well. Fantastic.
And this is something people can do just because you can be trying this and you don't think you're working that hard. You can hear the breathiness in my voice already from me starting to puff. Now, this is something you can do at home. You're watching the TV, you're watching the news, you're getting your heart rate up, you're working your core stability. It's exercise that doesn't really feel like exercise, and it's a bit of a challenge. So you're tapping into one of those key motivators, which is mastery. So, and then one day you'll be able to do it and you won't wobble and you'll be fantastic and you'll be like, yeah, I did it. And then you'll be motivated to do something else cool and exciting.
Yeah. So some of the key points with that one, obviously we're trying to stay as stable as we can through the hips, but you can't do that if you're feeling feeling not tight through this area, okay? So really nice and low through there, needs to be tight. Okay? Excellent. Was that easy?
No, but it was comfortably challenging. Yes.
But if you go through the progression that we've done, you start at a lower level, then just reduce the amount of support that you do, and it should be challenging each time that you start the new one, and eventually with, you're talking mastery, the more repetitions that you do, the better that you'll get at it, and then you'll get up to a stage where you know, you've really only got one level of support there. So
it's a real Goldilocks exercise. It's a real comfortably challenging one that you can progress, I think. Yeah.
Yep. Fantastic.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we've had a look to see what we're doing next, and what we're doing next is
we're doing a lateral foam roller roll. So very similar, a lot of the ones that we've been using at the moment is working the foam roller in one particular direction. We're actually going to go the opposite direction. So our body's actually going to go from side to side in these ones, as opposed to sort of going up and down on the foam roller. So where we start is we're going to put our hands out like on a T intersection, like on a cross. And you'll notice these legs are in the bent position, which is fine, but I want Sally just to bring the feet in nice and close. So we're going to go to one side of the foam roller. Our back is still going to be on the foam roller, but what's happening is we're going to move our feet and our arms out to the side. So I'll get you moving your feet as you're rolling out to the side, and you should feel this on one of your shoulder blades, and at the same time your core on this side has to work a lot harder to try and stabilise yourself. So then we sort of roll to the other side, and again what's happening through the knees and through the feet is that we're taking our feet across to the opposite side of the foam roller, and again you can see through here there's not a lot of overhang through there because Sally's really on that left shoulder blade at the moment. So tell us how that's feeling.
Yeah, no, you can really feel that work quite a lot. And this, I'd say, you can also do this on a Swiss ball, but this, I'd say, is much harder on a foam roller than it is on a Swiss ball. So it's quite interesting. But it does, you know, one of the reasons it's probably harder for me is because I haven't done this before. And so that's the great thing with exercise. The more variations you incorporate, you know, the more challenging it is and the more interesting it is. The more challenging for your body, the more challenging it is for your brain as well. So all of this balance work that we do, there's a lot of studies about how it helps prevent things such as dementia and Alzheimer's disease. So, you know, there's a lot of brain benefits as well. And I think one of the reasons is because you're developing new neural pathways in your brain. So, and all into the neuroscience and whatnot. So, and you can hear this is hard because you can hear me puffing.
A couple of key points that we're working off here is that to make this a little bit easier is that you can open up your legs just a fraction more. So again, what happens from a stability point, you've got a more stable base, so that these side obliques is what we're working through here. Don't have to work as much, but if you want to make it challenging, the feet closer together means your transverse abdominis is switched on, and then your obliques actually have to do a fair amount. The other side benefit to this one as well is that you're actually getting a back massage through those shoulder blades, which is where most people are actually a little bit tight. So not that that's a purpose, but that is another benefit of what we're doing through here.
More bang for your buck in terms of exercise.
Yeah,
that's what you're always after.
If you can do two things at once, that's great.
Males may not be able to do this way.
Of course, of course.
No, that's really good, Cameron. That is a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, so that's it for the lateral foam roller exercise.
Thanks, Cameron.
No problem.
Well, Cameron, thanks very much
No problem.
for showing me all these fantastic foam roller exercises. Now, there's also some other really good uses for the foam roller, like beating people when they push you too hard for exercise as well. Thanks, Cameron.
No problem, Sally. My pleasure.